Greetings, Sanele Kumende. Yeah, from UKZN. What we do in this one is we're looking at the systematic academic literary review to try and get the sense of an academic function of community engagement. Why we're looking at this? Obviously, if you look at it, community engagement has not always been viewed as the business end of academic project, and even to this day, today, this nowadays actually as well, we still find that it's still people are still saying we must fit it in an academic project. But community engagement is part of an academic project. The way we look at it is that if it's not embedded within the academic project, we have a long way to go. So we're looking at really what's historical, where we come from, we're going, if you're looking at the academic literature in the community engagement. And it's a good thing that of late then there's a journal in South Africa of community engagement. It's a good thing. But over the past has not been something that really was prioritized, but it's now getting some priorities. And we try and look at systematically and we're asking ourselves these questions when we're doing the study. That how has community engagement evolved in higher education South Africa? What's the rhetorical framework and opinion community engagement? What impact has community engagement has on communities and institutions? What are the challenges and barriers in the implementation? And what are the best practices? So we're looking at really what is surveyed around literature. We're trying to get it systematically, and we follow the Prisma guideline. And what we've done, we just search widely on Google Scholar, JSTOR, Scopus, Web of Science. Just the simple keyword search: community engagement, higher education, South Africa, service learning, community-based research, social impact. So to try and get both. We're looking at both the peer review articles and some of the grey literature also included in our entire search. But obviously, to try and make a systematic literature review, we need to have some inclusion, exclusion criteria. So we definitely will to have some limit. For instance, when looking at post-apartheid era, because community engagement literally became something that they put it in the systems in 1997. But we wanted to see in the post-apartheid era really what has been the context here, and this is what we also try to understand it. If you look pre-apartheid, community engagement has always been the scope was limited. That the pre-apartheid, so obviously institutions as well, how many institutions we had at the time and who was going to institution, the scope was very limited in a way that really even knowledge of and reasoning why I go to universities, obviously we understand the histories of universities. But during apartheid, yes, it was used to support the regimes of apartheid, what we find as well here. Post-apartheid, then we have, in South Africa mainly, then we have an issue now to redress and address what has been happening through the apartheid times, over 50 years of apartheid. So even the focus of community engagement now, it's quite different throughout these three eras. So perhaps when I look at post-apartheid, really what has been happening there, and these are the frameworks that really underpins frameworks, the social community engagement, the three main frameworks. So you look at social capital, the participatory action, research, and scholarly engagement. And obviously, when I was here yesterday, I was glad to see the data from UP that they were using participatory action research. And obviously, the term here in both is that the community engagement must be mutually beneficial, so beneficial to the communities and also beneficial to the institutions as well. So if you look at the theories in it, is that if it's not mutually beneficial, then it's not really engagement. It's if it's one-sided. For instance, if it's a matter of us going out there to give handout and not benefit anything else, it's just that it's handouts. Uh, so so both the institution and the community should be benefiting from the community engagement. So that's what we really find out. So in any activity, community engagement activity, you have to think about that mutual benefit from both parties. I think all these theories emphasizes on that. So if you think of it, the social capital theory, the PR and the scholarly engagement, it both beneficial to communities and obviously it's also to the institutions. Okay, these are the policies post-apartheid that's govern, regulate this. Yesterday when I was presenting about um, the community engagement in selected educations, one of the findings that I had there with the academics that I interviewed, they didn't even know that there are policies that govern community engagement. And I think I highlighted that at the end yesterday to say people who must embed this and do this, they don't even know about it. That's quite strange. Because my view on this is that community engagement should not be on the side. Uh, if I'm teaching economics 101 and there's no community engagement part of it, I might as well stop. So that's my view of it. Because otherwise, I'm not doing any redress. The story, so for those who are not here but yesterday, so I was saying the story here is that by definition of what we do in economics. In economics, we, for instance, if you calculate unemployment and inflation, I just made an example that inflation is calculated on a 30,000 urban household, and I'm just trying to think how many rural households that's so inflation that we use and research on it doesn't include my mom because it doesn't include anyone that I know. So include people I don't know. And I still work in the same system and well, it goes a long way. It's of redress and also trying to decolonize and many other questions that arise from this. But there are really various approaches in various institutions. So, uh, well, I could write a lot that I've seen in trying to read what other institutions are boasting with, what they are saying. A lot of institutions are they are doing it differently, I understand the difference, the way we're doing it, and I think it's nice. Uh, was sitting alone here saying, I mean, if we could have collaboration with institutions, we could make a better fist of this. Because one thing I know is all institutions will all crowdfunding, support, and labs. Probably could just bring our resources together and let's see how we could help and enhance each other. Because again, you come up to this conference, you hear a lot of projects happening everywhere and say, look, man, you could work each other with each other, we can benefit a lot. Okay, so the impact really has done a lot in terms of skills transfer, promoting empowerment and local economic developments. There is something that we could document. And I was looking at this, that we must be proud and say this thing out loud, that we have done this over the years and try and make sure that we make noise about this, make it a public domain, so that there's no two ways about it. You understand that there is community engagement and there are more benefits for community engagement that you could really achieve more than just these four walls that we teach on in classroom. Obviously, there are challenges, a lot of challenges, the disconnect between the systems and the funding, and also depending on activities that you end up doing, which really some of them you still work with complexities, which some need sensitivities and adaptabilities with the whole host of South Africa, different cultures, languages as well. It does bring those complexities, but I think this is what's been said in the literature. But I think there's much more really good benefit. Key insight: I gather from here is that obviously community engagement has evolved a lot, has played a crucial role, and what I get a lot. I think the more we do research on community engagement, the more we get clarity on it. I think, but that's what really, if you find it from the earlier papers, because what I've done when I was doing analysis, I said 94 2000. So when we try to say, let me see the trends, what's happening here, what are they researching on from 94 2000 moving forward until present, and then I even had tried to see what post COVID-19, but didn't find a lot more there. But what I really gather here is that it moved from it being viewed as just another corporate social investment. Because initially, I think the activities and projects in those areas, early stages, you could clearly see that it was directed to the public relations, corporate social investment, and again with incentives that's the government make as well. Then it becomes that the tick box to compliance and like that's really needed. But now it's more on making it an academic project, and I think we have not done a lot because there's still, I mean, the important evidence that you have done in the paper that was presented yesterday, I think we have not done enough to conscientize all academics to say, be part of this, you must at least do some community engagement and really do community engagement. And not just as a purpose of making sure that you get your key performance index indicators at the end of the year, but I think to try and embed it, to try and say, let's look at it. It challenged me to say, let's go back and look into what we do that in our classes. Is there community engagement that we put in our teaching, in our research? They're like, so who are the audience of our research? How we determine our research? But obviously, still need a lot more collaborations and some priorities of community engagement in institutions. You'll find that there's budget for teaching and learning in industry, good budgets for research and community engagement is very somewhere there. The support institutions is not really so clear here. And again, I think obviously now going forward, but I'm interested to see going forward is that issue of, I know institutions are looking for their stream income, always trying to cut costs and increase revenue. Uh, it would be interesting to see how much support community engagement enjoy going forward as we move along, researching on the themes and literatures and movement in community engagement. Uh, I thank you. How much time I left? 7. Oh, thank you. That's it. Ask. Couldn't make out with my presentation.
Thank you, Simon. Questions, contributions? There's a hand.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Sunday, for that informative presentation. So I'm from the University of Natal in the School of Education. So you are also in the same university as me. I'm located within the School of Education, within the Science Department. So there is this perception from both the students and academics to say, maybe to speak from my personal point of view and also my experiences in the School of Education within the College of Humanities. So since I'm located in science, there is this perception from both academics and students to say community engagement must only be done by those students and academics who are located within science and technology. So that is what has been happening in the School of Education. So I've been involved in community engagement ever since I was doing my undergraduate and second year. And then Prof. James was here, is also in the School of Education. She can tell you about it, that even as the academic leader for community engagement, when there are these board meetings, some other academics, mostly in accounting, will say community engagement is not for us. Some other things you can see them speaking about in the corridors. Maybe if to pose the question, what are the experiences in the School of Accounting and also Finance, and also maybe at a broader level at your College of Law and Management Studies? Yes, my school is leading in terms of community engagement. We have tried to put a number of initiatives to say community engagement is not only for science people. Can please those who are coming from accounting, social sciences, geography, and so on to engage in communities. Make what your experiences pertaining to your own school and also your college.
Yes, thanks. Okay. Yeah, well, yesterday's one was focusing on that. Last one. I won't repeat much of it, but okay. Um, uh, but yes, I'll respond to the college, like what we do, but also I'll add something. But if you look at it, I think institutions have different way of looking at this because in most of the institutions in South Africa, as I was looking at by study yesterday, you find that the sciences are the one who are not really. The community engagement is mostly the humanities thing. Sciences are not. Science and math, hard sciences, they really are looking at themselves as they are not. So, and obviously you're saying in Edward, it's then the scientists are the one who are involved. Yeah. So yes, and then you start to place accounting. Where's accounting in science or humanities section? But uh, uh, but in the school, in the school, you have quite a different thing that with the colleagues in the corridors, besides just community engagement. So they're saying it could be nice to have academics who are teachers, academics who are researchers, and academics who are community engagement. So okay, you want to split the entire thing. So you don't really, for me, for a rounded academic, you need all three of them combined. That's how it might be. But I think there's still a lot more of engagement of ourselves as academics to say, look at this way. There's I'm not sure if I can share this, but we're not going to the restructuring, right? Restructuring, yeah. And the VC in our assembly say, look, where is community engagement in the restructuring? And it says, I'm going to need a strong motivation for this portfolio to stay. So then that's why you are saying should. So it's literally to engage ourselves on the thinking of community engagement as well. There's a lot more because I think clearly in accounting you need community engagement. Even you can put it in the way you teach it. I mean, clearly in economics you can do it. Clearly, I mean, there's easier way, low-hanging fruit you could start, but I think no one ever look at that way. So I think this brings us the challenge, all of us, to say, let's look at our programs, our modules, and let's look at our template, let's look at our course guide, and try and see how much of community engagement are we putting in our modules. Because again, I think also, if your entire studying, you have not been exposed to community engagement. So when you are an academic, you will probably take it as something that is not key. But I do think that we must all challenge ourselves by ensuring that we have community engagement. So in a way that you know that I'm not teaching anything unless I'm responding to challenges of this country. Then obviously going forward, we may see some change. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Sorry, just a comment on his question. I think because I am from the accounting department, I'll present and you'll see later. But I think it's been touched on, you touched on it also in your presentation, that universities exist within communities and therefore there is always potential to engage the community, doesn't matter where you are. But I think it was touched on in yesterday's session that you can't really force people into doing community engagement. Otherwise, if you force people, then you're going to end up with that question of, can't we all get along? Because people are now feeling forced, like, why am I doing this? I have to do this. And universities, I think somehow they are trying to force it into people doing things. That's why it's now coming up in people's KPIs and what, so people know that I won't get a promotion unless I get involved. But I think, that's one way of encouraging people to do it. But I think at the end of the day, you can't really force people. It's the academics themselves that have to see the problems that they teach and the things that need a response within their courses and within their communities. So I think it is a tricky one.
Sure.
Thank you.
Another hand.
I'm not in the university setting, and I'm so interested in you saying that it can't be forced, but I'm also like, but why wouldn't anyone? Like, what is the great resistance? I don't understand why you would be so resistant to it as an academic. Is it time pressures? And I also just wonder, I mean, is it maybe that people have never seen it in action? They don't really know what it means.
Maybe I'll try it. But my thinking is that one is these are, I think, habitual. I mean, you need to constant reminder, constant training, let it get into you, then you understand it. What I do know with accounting, the simple way to get accountants to do it is if Psycha says it. So, and that's the simplest way. If Psycha says, I'm only going to recognize your degree if you're concentrated in it, they will do it. They could change anything and everything if Psycha says it. And because most accounting, especially our accounting, is they always want to ensure that the land is safe with Psycha, and anything that Psycha says, they will find a way of doing it. But if Psycha not saying it, they will never do it.
Just to expand on the discussion, if you keep it just 1 minute. So again, it really amazes me to say, why would you not engage yourself in these communities? Because as she was saying, universities are existing in communities. So now, just to make another example, at my university, this guy, a very young guy, was very good in publications, research, supervision, academic excellence, and so on. Now, when he applied for promotion from senior lecturer to associate professor, they didn't say it. We do not have a community engagement. It does not exist, not even a single event from your CV says community engagement. Therefore, we cannot give you a promotion. Therefore, maybe just take a leadership role to say, let me be the discipline head or the cluster leader for 3 years, then after, for a year, 2 or 3, then after that you get a promotion. But the person just resists to say, no, I'm not doing community engagement. And they left the university. It really doesn't make sense. But obviously, people always differ. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sanele. I have comments for you.
Oh, great.
Allow me. Because I think we have individualized community engagement and we put it in KPIs. Now it becomes that each individual needs to do an individual project, or we have made it an event to do community engagement. And that's the first problem. And when you were projecting the policies here, I was thinking that perhaps moving forward, you need to think, broader into the policy landscape in South Africa. Because post 1994 we had GIE, RDP, and then there was GIE as GISA, NDP. We have Agenda 2063. What does that mean in relation to the university? Because now we are viewing community engagement as an institutionalized something that belongs into the university. So that's where sometimes the problems are. We are trying to read it and do it in isolation. But remember, we exist in South Africa. Any university might have beautiful ideas, but what is the national policy saying? How is it influencing, our daily functioning or practices? Because if we have a neoliberal policy which promotes economy, which promotes, the individual promotions and whatever, who will care about community engagement? And I want to agree with you that this is a question of curriculum, because community engagement has been taken as an extracurricular activity. So until we transform the curriculum to embed community engagement within the curriculum itself, then we'll be able to avoid all these questions that we have, and to have actually graduates who understand the need and the value of contributing to our social good.
Thanks. Thank you. Good comments. I'll look at the policies. On other policies, really, I'd overlook those ones. And thanks for the comments.
Sure.
Thank you.